Hello everyone and welcome. From today on, I'm going to talk about the relative part. We'll leave the absolute part behind because I have spent so much time, so many efforts on this absolute part, and my what I'm focused on my efforts concentrate on uh, the understanding of the absolute part because it's so difficult. To tell you the truth, in the past several years, I discussed with many people, mostly in C readers website that's in North America. A lot of people participated. Among them, some are professionals, philosophers, philosophy trained, even have philosophy degrees. Some are doctors, bachelors, of course. Some from literary, uh, humanity side, or some from the technical side, or from the science field. But what I found is some people can understand the epistemology of this Instancology and absolutology. I call it IA. And some can understand the relative part to some extent. They see some similarities about the instance, about on certain levels, things like that. They even write tens of thousand words on that. But the fact is, I haven't seen anyone, even one person, who understands the meaning of the absolute. That's why I spend so much time on this one. I drew pictures, I gave illustrations, I put a little like a kindergarten thing there to make it clear. I don't know if my efforts are paid off or not. Well, a lot of people think probably philosophers shouldn't do that, right? As a philosopher, you should use abstract concepts to scare people, like a lot of German philosophers did. They tend to make things more difficult than they really are. Well, that's not the way for Chinese philosophers. We make things simpler. Complicated concepts, we make it simple. That's what we do. Alright, from ancient times, there's somebody called Lao Tzu, or Taoism, or whatever you heard of. They say a few words, that means many things. Well, the bad part is that there's a thousand different interpretations of it. That's the bad part. But anyway, make complicated things simple. It's always like that. And nowadays, I'm still following this tradition, if you will. So I gave you so many illustrations, so many pictures. My purpose is, hopefully, you will understand it. Well, when you understand it, tell me. Write it under the comment of this video. I'll send you a book to congratulate you. Alright? $100. First edition, I only printed 30 copies. 30. With my signature. Every one of them. Trust me, it will last longer than you lived. I don't know how long. Okay. It's very hard. Trust me. Okay, now we come to the second part, the relative part. And from now on, I'm going to say whatever video I'll make mostly are about the relative part. The relative part. The relative. Alright? Remember the galaxy picture? It turns around and round and round. From self-consciousness eventually to the background. The universal consciousness. Alright? The absolute is a function. It goes like our galaxy, like our solar system. Eventually, it flies out of our Milky Way galaxy, or even our universe. All right, because if you fly out of the cluster of galaxies, where do you go? At the end of the Big Bang expansion? Yeah, I think so. Probably it is. It will fly out of the cluster of a galaxy. It will go even beyond. Well, nowadays there's a lot of videos about cosmos, about with word title like "What will happen? What is there before the Big Bang?" Well, that's interesting, right? It's mind-boggling. They tell us that all the stars in the whole universe is even more than all the sand gathered on Earth. Think how many are there? Gazillions? Billions of billions? Who knows? But one thing I'm assure you, if you dig deeper inside yourself, your mind is bigger, wider than the universe. You may ask, how do you know? Because your mind is the absolute. The absolute is the cause of our world. When it causes our world to become being, from potentiality to being, one is produced. It emerges as a one, as something. As long as that something appears, it has two dimensions: mathematical law and logic. Okay? This is in this IA system. Alright? Okay, so today I'm going to talk about, mostly from now on, about this part. Alright? The relative part. And the relative part is the part that we are dealing with every day in our everyday life. Alright? Let me get the picture just a second. So it's good. Alright, here you go. Here you go. Oops. Where is it? Alright, here we have it. Let's take this one. Okay. Look closely. Philosophy are related to the two part, and IA are related to three parts. Okay? Absolutology deals with absolute only, but Instancology deals with the function part, the relative part. Alright? So totally three parts are in this system called IA. And the philosophy, on the other hand, deals with two parts. The first is the core, it's the I, called intuition or experience. The other part is the facts, That's the logical part. Alright? The first part, everybody is familiar. When we were born, and everybody has the childhood time, and we wish the world is whatever it is, like Alice in the Wonderland, right? You can dream everything you want to, and you think about the world, what it should be, and things like that. That's attitude. That's will. You wish. All right. Eventually, in the last few hundred years, the Western people, they advanced to the stage of realizing facts are more important. They come from the intuitive part, that the experience part, to the logic, to the reasoning. All right, that's called a fact. All right, in Bertrand Russell's words, another big guy, Wittgenstein, called it the case. Same thing. All right, the case, the world, you can all express with a function. All right, make this function space as a parameter, time as a parameter, and put it in, it equals the fact or the case of the world. All right. So now the concept of function should stay with you from now on. Function has a wider sense of the reality. It covers the facts. It covers the intuition, of course. The facts already covers the intuition part. That's an inner feeling, desire, will, if you want to. Okay? So the two centers, the previous two circles can be put under function. Everything now, think about that, is a function. That's what Instancology tells you. It's a function. Think about that. Okay? So the concept is function is more profound than fact or world or case, and of course more than experience. Now the virtual machine, the computer software, the artificial intelligence, and Turing's machine, everything is a function. That's the way it is. Actually, everything in this world is a function. As long as it is something, it has a law, it has a function. Think about that way. Not fact, not the case, not even events. All right? They all put under the umbrella of function. That's what IA tells you. Okay, if you go one more step along this circle, around and around, you go to the world, the relative part. Okay? In physics, Albert Einstein already said everything is relative, but that's from physical, from the scientific point of view. In philosophy, we abstract this idea and expand it. Everything is relative. Well, you may say, in mathematics, we have infinity, right? let's say a set of natural numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can go on or on. And we were told since childhood that mathematics, the natural numbers has infinity. A lot of infinity there. And the theory of set, everything you put into this set, but you have, and at last, you have the set of all sets. But actually, it's a self-contradictory term, right? There is no set of all sets, because it's the last one is contradictory, right? Okay, let me say this. With IA comes out, there's no real infinity anymore. No more. You may say, why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because everything in the world has a condition of space and time. It has that two conditions. All right, or under Einstein's relativity concept, it's a space-time dimension. The two connected. But think about that. Is there really infinity? Can you count forever? How long do you live? How long does the human race live? Is there a day when the expanding of the universe, the Big Bang, will come to end and started to die? Everything, if it's born, it will die. Do you still believe this law? If you do, like I do, there's no infinity. Because time-wise and space-wise, you don't have the chance to put it into infinity. Think about the number from 1 to 2. How many decimals in between? You may say infinity. Really? I bet there's a finite number that you cannot go anymore. Because you are not there anymore. How can you count anymore? Because the last human being is there. He counted and he died. Is that infinity? No, it's not. So infinity is the illusion. Or I call it's absolute relative or relatively relative. We'll talk about that part later. Okay? So the relative part, the entire thing under the big umbrella here, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 all bracketed in is called relative part. Think about that. How to understand this concept of something? If it is something, it must be one. If there's something, it must have laws. It must have two laws at least. Mathematical law and logical laws. So one, something, relative. They are the trilogy. They are 3 in 1. You cannot escape. If it's a relative, it must be something. If it's a something, it must be one to start with. Okay? So think about that. You may say, how do you prove it, what you say? Or how do you convince us what you said is correct? Well, let me give you an analogy. Maybe you would believe it. Every day you go to bed, right? Then you will wake up. Before you wake up, you have dreams. Sometimes you forget it. Sometimes you don't know if you have it. Alright. If you, in the day, sometimes if you close your eyes, you have this feeling too. No matter what status, what state your mind is, think about that. Your brain having no thought at this moment. There is a moment when your mind is blank, entirely blank. Close your eyes, or before you wake up, after the dream, your dreams end. Do you think you have that time? Test it. You must have it. It's the same rule or similar to have the absolute create the relative, the one, something. It's the same thing. This is how IA came about. How IA was discovered by, I call it, the paradox of thinking. When I discovered the absolute, I know it must be one only. Okay? So it's the same. In other words, every day in your mind, every day in your brain, there's a Big Bang going on every day. That's how the universe was created once. And to our knowledge, your brain has a Big Bang to create thoughts every day. When your brain is empty, it equals to the absolute. But the small absolute, it's limited, it's localized to your skull. Okay? It's inside the physical, the body you had. Alright? The two halves, they are both absolute. I call them the two minor absolutes. One big absolute is the background. Okay? How your brain creates thoughts or creates image, that's the right half of the brain. How are you conscious of something, one thing, in the morning? You become suddenly wake up, are aware of something. That's a moment the Big Bang happened in the universe too. That's the way it is. The two are the same. Okay? Think about that. That's a very deep concept. If you understand it, you understand the absolute. You know the relationship between absolute and something, the one, the relative. Okay? Then congratulations. To my knowledge, so far in the past 4 or 5 years, not anyone showed to me they understand this concept. No, not anyone. If you know it, let me know. I really want to congratulate you. Alright? Okay. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.